You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Another really good one for Brian Kelly and the squad. JoJo Stone, that's Joseph Stone, 2024 athlete, likely a receiver. He commits to LSU last night. And then today, this morning, 10:30 a.m., here on Tuesday, LSU was waiting the announcement of Kaleb Jackson, 4-star running back out of Liberty Magnet right here in Baton Rouge, just minutes from where we sit. And this is how it sounded via his Instagram live feed, which I am somewhat ashamed to admit I was actually watching downstairs in the production room because I was recording LSU Daily and the daily podcast that I do and wanted to include the results of this announcement. So I was waiting for your boy to pick a hat so I could go and finish the podcast. Had a lot of issues with the Wi-Fi there at Liberty Magnet High. But ultimately figured it out, and this is how it sounded when Kaleb Jackson made his pledge.
And with that said, I decided to commit to
Well, thank goodness his mom was screaming LSU because nobody heard him actually say LSU because as soon as he pulled the hat, everybody kind of went bonkers. It was pretty interesting, though. No media was allowed, and so you had media outside waiting for Kaleb Jackson to make his decision, and then he later came out, or his announcement, he came out. Shea Dixon posted this picture on his Twitter. If you're watching, you'll see it there. If not, you can go follow Shea on Twitter to see the picture. But it's Kaleb Jackson with an LSU hat, LSU shirt, throwing up the L with his family around him. And said he made the decision to commit today because it was his mom's birthday. That's it. If you're looking at the photo, his mom is on the left in the gold Nike shirt there. So congrats to Kaleb Jackson on his decision. And, this is one of those that I think is very significant for some of the reasons we've talked about here in the past few weeks. And just as a kind of quick recap for the storyline that's kind of been a bit pervasive, but we've asked the question, or we've talked about the fact that it is fair, and I'm not even going to say a criticism, but it's fair to ask the question about Brian Kelly and the staff and their ability to recruit Louisiana because we just don't know yet. That is fair. And it's not to say he can't or won't. It's just that it's incomplete right now. He came here very late in the process for 2022. And obviously, when Ed Ogeron was fired mid-season, they stopped taking official visits, taking official visit tours because they didn't want to use official visits for a staff that wasn't going to be here, which was a good move by Ed and his staff then. So when Brian Kelly and his staff got here, they were very, very behind on the 2022 class, and they raced to finish it, filled it with a lot of transfers. You all know the story. And now they're starting to move toward 2023, and we've seen some of the top prospects in the state declare elsewhere. You all know the list by now. We've been through it. So it is fair to wonder how this is going to work with in-state prospects. So every time this staff checks a box on one of the big in-state prospects, it matters. It feels more significant because, as we've talked about, championship squads at LSU have been built around a core of Louisiana players, and then you supplement by recruiting nationally and with transfers. So, that's going back to 2003, the 03 championship with Michael Clayton and Marcus Spears and Marquise Hill and LaRon Landry, and you all know the list. But that was a Louisiana-based core football team that built with transfers and out-of-state guys, but it was the core of that team was from here. Same with 07, guys like Glenn Dorsey and Jacob Hester. And then, of course, we know the 2011 team, which played for the championship, and then, of course, 2019 as well. So, yes, you got to be able to recruit the state. We know that. So you go get Kaleb Jackson, who's a 4-star, and in the 247 composite, he's inside of the top 200. He's ranked number 192 overall. But he's the 6th best running back in the country in the composite. So that's not just one service. That's the composite rankings of all the major services. They have him as the 6th best running back in America. This dude's a stud prospect. Last year, he averaged 184 yards a game. He averaged 14 yards a carry at Liberty as a junior. So, yeah, man, you get that kid not only to commit, but look at his offer list. Look who he had offers from and over whom he chose you. It was LSU, Alabama, Texas A&M, Auburn, Baylor. I mean, you were in the mix with heavyweights, and you won the fight. So a couple of reasons why I think this is really significant. Number one, obviously, you want to keep the best players in Louisiana. And Kaleb Jackson is ranked the 12th best player in the state of Louisiana for 2023. We've gone through the list of the best players in the state, and you know Arch Manning and Eli Holstein and Derek Williams, guys that have committed elsewhere out of state right now. You're very optimistic on Shelton Sampson. You're optimistic on Lance Hurd. Now you're looking at a guy, in Kaleb Jackson, who is committed. You start to build among the best players in the state. It's obviously significant because you beat out A&M and Alabama, two programs that are heavily involved in the NIL space, schools that have come into your state and plucked some top talent out of Louisiana. So to be able to fend them off is a big win for Brian Kelly and this staff. Also, when you look at running back, now you've got the top 2 running backs in the state for this cycle committed, with Kaleb Jackson and Trey Holly. The top 2 running backs in Louisiana for 2023 are now on board. We'll come back to that in a minute, but a big reason that's significant is Frank Wilson. When Brian Kelly hired Frank Wilson, we all know what the objective was, and Frank is an amazing coach. I'm not going to minimize that. He won state championship at O.P. Walker. He's been a head coach at both UTSA and at McNeese. He's won games. He's won recruiting battles. He's a really good running backs coach. He's a good head coach. Dudes play hard for him. All of that is true. But that description fits a lot of men that could have been LSU's running backs coach. The thing that made it a no-brainer for Frank Wilson to come back and do that job, aside from the money that he got, but the guy's making $1 million a year, but is his recruiting prowess in the state. There are few, if any, that are as respected among high school coaches in the state of Louisiana that can recruit this state like Frank Wilson. And when you're Brian Kelly and you're coming from the Midwest and you got to come to Louisiana and you need someone to help you get that foothold and get into every door, there's nobody better than Frank Wilson. So you bring in Frank, who's also your running backs coach, and in his first class, the top 2 running backs in Louisiana are now LSU commitments. That's huge. Look at Frank's time in Baton Rouge during his last go-round when he was here under Les Miles. He always got the best running backs in Louisiana to stay home. Leonard Fournette, Darrell Williams, Darius Geis, Nick Brissett. You all know the list. That's what Frank did exceptionally well. All these dudes wanted to come play for him. And he's picking up right where he left off now with Kaleb Jackson and with Trey Holly in this class. That's massive. And if you just look at the running back position for next year, keep in mind, y'all, John Emery, this is his 4th year in college. He was a 2019 signee. Yes, he'll have another year if he wants it because of the COVID year, but I think I think we would all recognize that if John Emery has a solid season in the same way that Ty Davis Price did, John Emery's likely going pro. You brought in Noah Cain, transfer from Penn State, and he's in the same situation. Noah Cain was a 2019 signee, same class as John Emery. He went to Penn State, played a lot as a freshman, looked like he was going to be the dude in 2020, has the unfortunate injury, never really got back on track in 2021. Now it's his 4th year. He's in the same situation as John Emery. 3 years in college, tons of promise, big-time prospects, haven't really gained that traction. Both are looking for big seasons, maybe to get to the next level. Of course, you got Josh Williams as well in that running back room, who has another year of eligibility, but we'll see what his role is, which means really for next year in 2023, the things that you feel pretty confident are Bradford and Armani Goodwin are the 2 guys that you're pretty sure are going to be here in 2023. That's provided one of them doesn't transfer. So you've got to supplement that running back room in this recruiting class, and now you've done it today, adding Kaleb Jackson, previously having Trey Holly. It's just big news. I mean, it is. I'm not trying to overstate it, but a guy that's 5'11", 215, a physical between the tackles runner who fits the mold of the style of back that LSU has had here when Frank Wilson was here the first go round. A Louisiana kid, you beat A&M and Bama for him. You're the number 12 player in the state of Louisiana, the number 6 running back in the country. It's just hard to overstate how important this one was. A position of need, a guy you wanted, had to have, and you were battling A&M and Bama for him, and you got him. That's a major, major punctuation, exclamation point on this day as LSU has built this class really over the last 2 weeks. Maybe few as significant. There's some more highly rated. We talk about Jaylen Brown, the 5-star. We talk about Jackson Howard. We can talk about some of the highly rated players, but maybe few as significant for all of the reasons we just mentioned is what happened today with Kaleb Jackson picking LSU. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.